Hey, everybody, welcome to the IWCA Show. I am your host, Gabriel Gutierrez. I am very happy and excited to have our president, Joe Rocheleau, here. How you doing, Joe?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. I'm so glad that we could have you on before our convention. So we have the Elevate convention coming up in February in Orlando. It's going to be awesome. We've done so much to try and get the excitement going, and I feel like it's carrying on to a lot of people, even those who are not members of the IWCA. A lot of people are expressing excitement about attending in the next couple weeks. But a lot of that is attributed to your leadership. So you have been the president now. Normally, presidents serve a 1 year term and then we rotate out. But just because we just had a little bit of upheaval in the board for a little while, it was going to be easier to keep you on for an extra year. And you graciously devoted your time and served that extra year. And I think we were better for it. I think we were able to accomplish some things that you were able to see through from the beginning. So I do want to get into that, but first of all, for those who may not know you or be familiar with your career and your time with IWCA, could you just tell us a little bit about the company that you're in and what you do and how you got into window cleaning and high rise and all that fun stuff?
Sure. So I work for a company called Jaffe Contracting. We're based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. About 2 years ago, we opened up another branch in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so I started here just as a high-rise window cleaner. And that was, I think, 15 years ago now.
Wow.
Um, and so just really just kind of moved up the ranks as far as, hanging on the side of buildings and becoming a crew leader and a supervisor. And so now I was an operations manager and now I am the general manager. So I oversee both of our locations.
Got it.
I've got great operations managers at both locations. And it's nice because they make my job much easier. So I'm able to get out and do a lot more selling and seeing customers and things like that I was tied up doing a lot of the operating in the company before. So I started window cleaning when I was 18 years old, um, and it was just something that stuck with me. So it was never really tried to do much of anything else. I did a little bit of building maintenance, in there in certain places, but for the most part, it's always been window cleaning.
Very cool. So what was your foray into the IWCA?
What's say that again?
So how did you get into the IWCA?
So I got in the IWCA. Frankly, I was one of those guys that had never heard of it before until I started working for Jaffe. And I don't know, I was here, it wasn't very long, and the owner of the company said, "Hey, we're big on safety. I want you to go get your high rise specialist." And I was like, "High rise what?" I had no idea what it was. And he said, "So, we're members of the IWCA, and I mean, God, we've been members for going on 30 years now." So um, that was my first exposure to the IWCA. Was going to my first convention. I think my first convention is when I took my high rise specialist exam.
Mm.
Sat through the training with Stefan. My first meeting him as well. So that was my initial exposure to the IWCA, and then I think it was probably 5 years ago. I just wanted to do something more. And so the owner was like, "Well, see if you can get into the board, see if you can get on the board." And there wasn't really any seats available at that point. So I was suggested to join a committee.
Hmm.
And at that point, I joined the Education and Safety Committee. And then, like mid year, I think it was Christina was the secretary treasurer, and she reached out to me and said, "There's a spot if you want it." And so I jumped at that. Um, and then once I got on the board, I was asked to chair the convention committee, and it was it's very challenging to plan a convention,
Sure.
and but it was very rewarding. There were so many things. It was a lot of fun, and then it's a totally different take. Um, which I'm sure you understand this going to convention because
Yeah.
you're on convention committee, and it's a different take when you're at convention when you're on the committee that put it together versus
Right. Yes.
just being your general attendee because it just takes on a different life. You're
Yeah.
working so much. You're just so many other things are going through your head versus just the education that's going on. You hope that you can hop in a room and catch some of a session going on,
Yeah.
um, but you're really doing a lot. You're really staying busy when you're there.
Yeah, for sure. Last year was my first kind of working convention. I was always working, because when I was on, when I first came on, and I wasn't on the board yet, but I was in committees and stuff, and yeah, I was kind of a floater, so I'd kind of go around, and I was interviewing people and making videos and kind of doing that type of thing. But I wasn't really obligated to be anywhere. I didn't have any. I wasn't teaching any classes. I wasn't heading anything other than I was just there to capture what it was like for someone to be at the convention. And then last year was the first year I was actually on the committee and actually had classes to teach and assignments to do and had to be here, so I didn't get to do the charity clean, which is always my favorite thing to do when I
Mm,
come to the convention. But you're right. I mean, you're pouring so much blood, sweat, and tears into making this work that, it seems like you're so invested in the success of the convention and that you want people to have a good time. You want people to be there and feel like, man, this was worth every penny I paid and more.
exactly.
That's what you want. So yeah, you definitely are more you're keyed into how people are feeling about it. And that's a big concern. Whereas when you show up as just a visitor, you're just, hey, I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to
Right.
learn, I'm here to do this. But when you're running it, yeah, it's a whole different thing.
And then this year it's a whole um, different. Um, I don't want to say can of worms, but it's the only thing that pops into my head. But having the convention, there's just so many moving parts. That's what I wanted to
Yes,
say.
moving
There's
parts. Yeah.
so many more moving parts because it's the two organizations coming together to put on a show,
Yeah.
and we each have so many different things that we want to do and exciting
And
things,
are
and
used to doing, right? And we're used to doing without having to
absolutely,
ask permission.
yeah, yeah. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to see how everything works out. And we just had a uh, call yesterday um, about the outdoor demos and opening ceremony, opening session, how that's going to
Yeah,
go. It's just it's Luis who is the co-chair of the convention committee. That man is full of ideas,
he is.
full
He's
of all
he's a
these ideas.
force, man.
So he's got, he brought on DJs this year. So, at our opening ceremony and at the awards banquet, we're going to have DJs.
Yeah,
So that's an exciting thing. It's where they'll introduce us and things
yeah,
like that. And the other thing about that is, we're also part of some organizations here, real estate organizations. Most of our property managers, I mean, they're commercial properties. So,
right.
um, but BOMA and IRM are big ones that we belong to. And one of the last awards ceremonies that they had, they brought a DJ. And my company was title sponsor, so we had a lot of speaking parts, and we've done
Nice.
that before on
Hmm.
with other ones. And it's just a lot to have to remember and to do. And you get a script, but it's still hard to
Yeah, for
follow
sure.
sometimes. But when you have a DJ there, that's just like, it's not just that it's livening up the crowd and all those things, but it makes the host have such less pressure on them
Yeah, for
than
sure.
if they didn't have
I
that there. So I'm really excited about that. Um,
being like the master of ceremonies is so much pressure, especially if you're not used to doing it, and kind of
mhm.
directing people and say, hey, we're going to do this now, we're going to do this. So when you have a DJ who's like, the music's going and then he just interrupts it real quick, everyone that gets everyone's attention immediately, and then they've got that already DJ voice, they can, hey, we're going to be doing this,
Right,
and then
right.
everyone just kind of goes. It makes it so much easier. So I'm really excited about that addition to the convention for sure.
Yeah. So am I. So, but we locked in. Um, well, I say we locked in. We got to get some answers from the hotel yet, but we've for the most part locked in where The water fed demos and
Hmm.
things like that are going to be at the hotel.
Excellent.
Um, I'm excited to be somewhere warm.
Yeah,
It's
no
going to be
kidding, huh?
there. Uh,
I, I'm used to it because I'm in Arizona, so I mean we're shoveling sunshine out here right now.
exactly.
But yeah, definitely for our northerner window cleaners who are trying to throw a bunch of antifreeze into their water and
Yep.
just to
Yep.
stay working, they're going to be real happy down there in Florida. So that'll be great. Well,
Yeah. So we're excited.
let's talk a little bit about your presidency. So, like I mentioned earlier, you have one of the distinctions of having 2 years, which that's not, I don't think that's happened before. So
No,
you've
no,
had
this
two
is
years as president. Could you tell us a little bit about what that was like, and what were some of your goals when you first started, and how you feel you were able to reach those goals?
sure. My goals really kind of took on a life of their own. There was a lot of changing in the goals that I had. Um, you had mentioned before that there were some disruptions in the on the board, and so my original goal was, we're the International Window Cleaning Association,
Hmm.
and so I wanted to see the things that we could do to get international,
Yeah.
and so um, it was a lofty goal when you think about it, because getting 11, 12 people on a board to go to a different country is
Yeah.
very challenging. um, However, and this is no part of my own, well, I mean, I guess the invitation was part of us. We were able to get some international to us, and in the form of John and Jason Knight.
Yeah.
And so we had the guys from across the pond come on over, and great story. I mean, I say great, but everybody that knows the story knows I don't mean it was a
Yeah.
happy story, happy
No.
ending. But it was very sad what happened to him. But I think you know, that year, that was a real big culmination to my presidency, and he brought so much education to, not just our members, but to the industry. And after what he did, we started seeing changes made that, people were wanting for years and years and years. And so that was my first year. I still, want to call it successful, even though I didn't get us to another country.
Well, we
But
did
then
do we did had the convention in Brazil. We had that one
that's right, we did.
smaller
We did
one.
do that.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that was
Yep.
the start of that, I believe. And I know we still have a pretty good contingent of members in Brazil. I talked to, well, a couple have DM me and just said, "Hey, we're going to see you there. We're coming." They said they're going to win it all. So the speed competition, I mean, so they're practicing and ready to come. So we are starting to find those individuals in other countries that are interested in having that type of solid foundation of
Mhm.
window cleaning, not only just education, safety wise, business wise, but the camaraderie that comes with
Right.
conventions like this, where they can
And
say, "Hey, I've got friends in these countries who are doing what I do, and we're supporting one another," which I think is really
right.
special for sure.
And the safety is different in those countries too. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's still a goal of mine. I mean, I'll still have another year on the board as immediate past president.
Right.
But I'd love to see us be able to take some safety to, these other countries.
Mhm.
I mean, they don't have an OSHA, but they have their version of OSHA. And so I think it would take some time to put together, but I don't think it's something that, you know, we could not do. I think we could
Yeah.
definitely do that. So,
Well, that's
but then
how
this
that's how
year,
things start, is by setting goals.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, this year was really, I guess the best way I could put it was a rebuilding year.
Hmm.
Uh, at the end of the year last year, we hired a new management company, um, Bennett Association Management, and I love them. They're so easy to work with. They know us because they had, um, before Mark Bennett started Bennett Association Management, he worked for a different management
Yeah.
company, and he was the executive director for IWCA years ago.
Yeah.
So they're very familiar with what we do and who we are and what our goals are, what our mission is. And so you know, there was a lot of moving parts to get things switched over, but it was also at the same time very easy because they knew the kind of things that we wanted to do. And Lori, who is our actual executive director, is just a gem.
Hmm.
I mean, always trying to do more. Has things for the most part done before you even ask her to do it.
Right.
It's it's great. And so then the other big thing, so we took on a couple big things this year. So we got Bennett starting and working through with them, and then we decided to do a joint convention. And
Right.
so it's pile it on. So and that's what we're doing. So it
Yeah.
um, that has really the convention, has really been the focus, I think, for probably every committee.
Yeah.
When it boils down to it, it has something to do with the convention, whether it be membership or the convention committee, the glass committee as far as education goes, and definitely the educate safety and education committee, for getting new classes together and uh, the certifications that we'll have at convention. It's a lot. So that and coordinating between another organization, so that everybody involved is happy and moving towards the same goal. It's a lot of time and effort to put into it. And so
Yeah.
we're less than 2 weeks out, and I'm super excited. I think it's going to go off really well.
It's happening regardless whether we're ready or not. It's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that's true. It's happening.
No, but I've been really happy with the progress. When we first started, it was a little clunky as anytime you got two organizations working together, they're used to doing things a certain way, we're used to doing things a certain way.
Sure.
And I feel like we found a happy medium where we're keeping certain traditions from each organization so
Yep.
that doesn't change for our members. But then we're also putting it, or kind of an envelope of this greater availability to things, whether it's training,
Absolutely.
whether it's education, definitely the networking. I mean, we have over 700 people so far, that have signed up, and we know there's going to be a ton that are going to come day of, that didn't buy and they're just showing up last minute. So, I mean, we would love to have 1,000 people there, and to be able to help them experience what it's like to be at these types of conventions and just set the back or the groundwork for future, collaborations with the PWNA. But
Absolutely.
the Elevate's
One
really
thing I
good.
would like to say, just concerning conventions. So, anybody that's watching this now, if you have not registered or gotten your hotel, um, hotel's booked
Yeah,
solid. So there's no more overflow at that hotel. Our website does have some links to neighboring hotels that have
yeah,
some room. Um, we definitely want you to be there. Don't let the hotel be in full. Keep you from coming. We have a completely sold out trade show floor. We've actually had to start putting some people in remote areas,
yes,
so because there was just no room for them.
yeah,
So that is a good problem to have when it's a
it is.
convention.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure is. Sure is. Very cool. So, now that you're finishing up your role, and our new incoming president, Steve Aaron Kranz, coming in. How do you feel you can be of an assistance to him? What are some things that you'd like to kind of share with him as he starts his year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just being there for him. One thing that the president needs is a sounding board. You
Yeah.
know, just someone that they can, you know, talk to when they need to talk, and just, even if it's just having someone listen, not necessarily solve the problem, but just having somebody there that they trust,
Hmm.
that can help build them up. And and Scott's been around for a long time,
For sure. Hmm.
and but I'm sure there will still be times, something might stump him and he's going
Yeah.
to have questions. And so to be there for him in that kind of support and that kind of capacity, um, is my goal. And for the rest of the board, we have some young board members,
Hmm.
that are really, really coming into their own.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. It's exciting to watch them, and it's funny, your first board meeting with new board members, everybody's just kind of quiet as a mouse because they don't really know what they're supposed to do. They don't
Yeah.
know what their role is,
Right.
and to watch certain people that were so quiet and then have these really great questions on a board call or
Yeah,
these great suggestions on a board call, and
for
then
sure.
taking on some responsibilities. It's really great to see, and so to be there and help support them the best I can. uh, that's the way I look at the past president position, is more of an advisory and a support role,
Sure.
for everybody.
That makes sense. Yeah, no, that'd be great. And we're getting about closer. We're going to wrap up here. But I just feel like you provided a really steady spirit. You were kind of like that little rudder there that kept the ship going
Thank
during all of our time. Like you said, it was a rebuilding year, but I felt like we rebuilt pretty fast because we were
I
able
think
to accomplish some things,
I agree.
that once we all kind of understood, okay, this is how it's going to be here on out, everybody kind of fell into place and was like, okay, what can I do? What role should I play? And all of us, all the board members took their role seriously, and rather than a rebuilding year that maybe we didn't accomplish much, but we got steady, it was a rebuilding year of kind of like, okay, now we got wind in our sails. Now let's
Yes.
go. What can we actually do? So I think that was really cool, and I
Oh,
appreciate
absolutely.
your experience and steadiness in that, because it was something that we all did continually rely on during those times.
Well, thank you very much. It was a privilege.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to so I guess maybe you don't have any answer yet, or maybe you do. Are you gonna stay on after your year as the immediate past president? Still thinking about it?
I don't, you know what? Honestly, I do have an answer. I got to look at the
Okay.
bylaws. I got to
Got
see what I'm allowed to do. Um,
it.
I'm definitely going to stay involved. Um, I'll probably be very involved on the convention committee,
Hmm.
just because it's something I love,
Yeah,
and seeing all the things come together is it's just exciting, and I did it for so many years. So
yeah, for
so
sure.
yeah, I'm not necessarily going anywhere.
Good, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I just really, it's been nice to get to know you better. I'm still pretty new on the board, and I was that kind of quiet person in the beginning, but like I said, once we got our wind in our sails, I was able to kind of feel more useful in that. And,
Right.
I appreciate the way that the IWCA has allowed me to kind of use what I'm good at, which is
Right.
communication for the most part, and help me to be able to further the goals of the IWCA, because it's something I believe in, and I know all the board members do too. So we wouldn't be doing it otherwise, right?
I know that I can speak for the entire board and saying how thankful we are that you are on the board. So
Oh,
it's,
sweet.
I'm glad you accepted when I asked you. So
Yeah.
it was a big deal to me.
Well, I tell you, after that first year, I wasn't so sure I was going to stay on. But once I knew that we were going in a direction that I could get behind, then I was glad I stayed on, because it's been great. This has been a great year, and looking forward to the next one as well.
It's been good. It's
Well,
been
thank you,
good.
Joe. Again, appreciate your leadership, and I'm glad that we got a chance to work together, and look forward to many years after that.
Same here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to be coming out with another IWCA show after the convention. We'll put some highlights, and be able to cover how the Elevate convention went and what you can look forward to the next year. So thanks, guys. Take care. We'll see you next time.